went to Spencer High School, and then on to Indiana University, where I majored in economics. And I held the discus record when I graduated, the IU discus record when I graduated, but I was probably best known at IU as Babe Pierce All-American Roving Center, kind of like a middle linebacker thing. And we beat Purdue 4 years in a row.
Love it.
We were getting ready to play Notre Dame, and the coach sent me up to do a little spy. And I was up writing down those Notre Dame plays, and in walked their famous coach, Newt Rockne. And I thought, oh no. But Newt just laughed and said, come in my office, I'll give you plays, and we'll still beat you. We were headed 10-7 late in the game. But a guy named Gip, famous for win one for the Gipper, got a trick play, and we lost 14-10.
Do you suppose maybe that the trick play was the play he didn't tell him?
I don't know. From IU, I went on to the University of Arizona, where I coached basketball. And then I went out to USC to study law, and I coached at Glendale High. Coached football at Glendale High, and one of my players became quite a famous Western movie star. Any guesses who that might have been?
Ronald Reagan.
Not Ronald Reagan. He was famous for the line, "They'll win one for the Gipper."
John Wayne.
John Wayne's who I coached. But my career took quite a twist when a friend of mine invited me to a party at Edgar Rice Burroughs, the famous author, invited me to a swimming and dancing party at the Edgar Rice Burroughs Ranch. So I pulled up my Model T, and I was swimming, and his lovely daughter, Joanne, invited me over to meet the famous author. So I met the famous author in my swim trunks for the first time. Had several dances with my future wife that evening. And a couple weeks later, I got a call, wanted to know if I wanted to be the lead role in Tarzan the Golden Lion. I guess Edgar Rice Burroughs thought I looked like the Tarzan he wrote about.
After he left, later father said, and I said, yeah, me too.
So I decided to take the role, $75 a week.
Big money.
The producer was Joseph Kennedy, and his son became President John F. Kennedy. But there were no stuntmen then. So I was running across this thorny field, and I let out a huge Tarzan yell that wasn't in the script.
No.
But it was a silent movie anyway. But I wasn't sure if I was going to make this movie after that. But they got me some tennis shoes. They put powder on them so it looked like feet, and it worked out much better after that. They wanted me to go across this chasm on a rope, and they put this slippery moss over it. So I was about halfway across, and I was not going to make it, I don't think. So I threw my leg over the rope, and the director didn't think that's the way it should look. So they rigged some hooks up to my hands, and I was able to glide right across that rope after that. Worked out pretty well. But unfortunately, the movie was released about the time talkies were becoming popular, and it didn't quite have the box office success I was hoping for.
Because it was a silent film.
But I went on to have several bit roles. I played King Thun, the Lion Man, in the Flash Gordon series. But I really enjoyed doing the radio show with my lovely wife. We did Tarzan and Jane radio show, about 400 radio shows.
In North America, South America, Europe. It was fun because people may not know us to see us, but they knew our voices, and we had a fan club, and we were treated so well when we would travel.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
I decided to open up a flight school, and I also sold real estate. We settled in Apple Valley, California, near a golf course. I love that game of golf. Had lovely children.
Oh, two lovely children, Mike and Joanna.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and grandchildren. And let's see.
My connection to Shelbyville is that my father worked for the railroad, and he was transferred to Shelbyville. So while I never lived here, I would come to visit my father, who became mayor, Pop Pierce, and my lovely young sister Joanne, also named Joanne, and she married Ray Orm. They were local educators. He was the principal at Cole Scott Elementary and Henry's Elementary. They had a son, Jamie, who was the principal at Shelbyville High School. And Jamie married Janet, who was a teacher at Hendricks and other places. And they had 3 children, Chrissy, John, and Andrew. And I often would send books to John as he was growing up. And John actually came out to Apple Valley to visit me a couple times. We had a good time.
That little kid, John Orm, he loved California. And he was such a good kid.
Yeah.
I went to acting school in California. Didn't care much for the studies, but I loved the arts. So, although my family went to California from Chicago, grew up around there, living several times. But my father, one of his greatest joys was traveling cross country, just loading the kids up. And you can imagine back in the early 19-teens, it wasn't easy to travel cross country, so it was quite an adventure, and I did suffer from motion sickness. So, but I didn't let that keep me from going on the trip. So, when we were at home, instead of reading stories to us at night, Father would walk up and down the central hall. We were each in our bedrooms, and doors were open, and he would tell us stories, kind of weaving them, and so we knew about Tarzan, we knew about the jungles, and he really enjoyed kind of just testing it out on us. Later on, then, later in our life, he suffered a heart attack, scared me to death, but he brought it on himself.
I had a good round of golf that day, though. Yeah, 5 or 6 birdies.
Wow,
Yes,
good.
but he survived, came back nicely. Shortly after that, I was a breast cancer survivor. Not long after that, I did not survive my heart attack. And Jim brought me back to Shelbyville, where I'm here with a wonderful family and the lovely Shelbyville memories. And we have a picture of our grandchild, and we have a wedding picture. Would you like to see our wedding picture? Well, first of all, let me give you a... Now, look at this. Hasn't he just held up
Kept it,
very
yeah.
well, took very good care of himself. And there's my handsome groom. Many years later, Jim and I, with our daughter-in-law, Jan, and little James Christian.
What a good book.
It's a wonderful book.
Yeah. Well, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Especially the connection.
Thank you.